So, the source for today's explainer is, well, it's a little different. It's not some study or article. It's a message from a 92-year-old man who says he's standing at the very edge of the cliff. He's seen it all, he's outlived everyone, and he has one last thing he needs to tell us. The people's still back there at the party, and boy, does it start with a punch. Wow, that hits hard, doesn't it? He's not pulling any punches. The entire foundation of his message is that we've got it all wrong, that we're operating under this one massive delusion. And he says this single mistake is the source of all our others. So let's dive in and break down the lies he says we're telling ourselves. Okay, so the first and biggest lie is what he calls the delusion of time. We all get it, intellectually, that we're not going to live forever. But he says we don't feel it. We don't feel that cold steel of it against our neck. And because we don't, we go about our days like there's some kind of renewable resource. I mean, he puts it bluntly. We're broke. We act like we've got this huge savings account full of tomorrows, but the reality is every single day we spend is just gone. We're living on an infinite credit line that was never real to begin with. And to really hammer this point home, he tells us a story. And this is where we meet Jack. Jack was his best friend, a real shark in the business world, always hustling, always planning for the future, a future he was absolutely certain was going to arrive. He was the poster child for that whole "I'll grind now and live later" mindset. Just look at this timeline. It is brutally, shockingly short. Jack makes his big declaration, the classic 5-year plan, just 5 more years of grinding and then the real living begins. 3 days later, it's all over. A heart attack at 42. He never got to Italy. He never learned to paint. The whole plan just vanished. And here's the really cruel punchline. The world Jack was sacrificing everything for, it didn't even blink. His urgent emails, his booked calendar, none of it mattered. The company he poured his life into had his job posted in 2 weeks. He traded his entire life for a world that barely noticed he was gone. So the big takeaway from this first section is this brutal fact. Trading the only thing you actually have right now for some imaginary future that isn't promised to anyone, well, in his words, it's the worst bet in the history of gambling. And this whole delusion about having endless time, it feeds directly into the next big mistake he sees us making, what he calls the emptiness of things. Because we're ignoring the clock, we try to fill that nagging void inside us by just accumulating stuff. I mean, this slide just lays it all out there, doesn't it? We spend our precious, non-refundable hours chasing all this precious stuff. But from where he's standing, at the very end, he sees it for what it is: future trash. It's kind of a funny line, but man, it's also so profoundly true. It just perfectly nails the absolute absurdity of it all. You can't take any of it with you. All those things you spent a lifetime gathering just get left behind for someone else to deal with. And this is the question he throws right back at us. He literally calls it madness. Why are we trading irreplaceable moments, actual, real-life moments, for stuff that's just going to end up in a landfill? When you look at it that way, the transaction makes 0 sense. Okay, so if we're chasing worthless stuff because we think we have all the time in the world, where are we spending all that time? Well, that brings us to delusion number 3, the career trap. The idea that our job is our identity, that professional success is the ultimate prize. He takes us back to a very specific moment in his own life. The year is 1979. He's at the absolute peak of his game. He's just won the Businessman of the Year award. I mean, this is it. This is the big win everyone chases. But just look at this contrast. On one hand, you have the huge public victory, the applause from a room full of strangers. And on the other, you have the reality. Him, sitting all alone in a dark kitchen, holding a trophy while the people who actually loved him were asleep upstairs. People he'd been ignoring for months to win that piece of glass. So he wants us to see our careers for what they really are. Not some grand legacy, not our identity. It's a transaction. That's it. You are selling hours of your life that you will never, ever get back. And for what? To build someone else's castle? The only real question is it a good trade? And if you needed any more proof of how little that career will care about you in the end, he hits you with this. Oof, it's brutal, but it's true. He warns us, do not worship at the altar of your career. It will not love you back. So, okay, If time is a lie and stuff is garbage and our career is a trap, you're probably asking, what the heck is left? Well, this is the part where he stops tearing things down and starts showing us what's actually real. And here it is. This is the central paradox, the big secret. Your real net worth has nothing to do with what you've collected. It's all about what you've given. The love, the moments, the kindness, the connections. Those are the only assets that actually grow over a lifetime. This is what he thinks about now. This is his portfolio. Not stock tickers or property deeds, but the memory of a Sunday morning with his wife. The sound of his daughter laughing. These small human moments, this is the only real wealth. All right, so what do we do with all this? How do we stop living the lie? In this last part, he gives us what he calls a no BS strategy for the rest of your life. And it's not a gentle suggestion, it's an urgent, direct command. Let's run through them, because they're powerful. Number 1, kill your ego. Guess what? Nobody's thinking about you as much as you think they are. Just live. 2, practice the last time. Treat every normal moment, every cup of coffee, every hug goodbye, as if it could be the last time. It changes everything. And 3, wake up. Stop scrolling, stop numbing out. You have the golden ticket of health. Use it. Feel things again. And this is the final stark choice he lays out for us. The default setting isn't living. It's just existing, floating along, staying comfortable until the clock runs out. He's begging us to choose to live, not just exist. And it all comes back to Jack. The whole message is a warning, a plea, not to make the same mistake he did. Don't wait for the 5-year plan that might never arrive. Do the thing. Make the call. Say the words. Now. He leaves us with this, a final question that just kind of hangs in the air. It's an invitation to stop and to listen. To hear the sound of your one precious life ticking away, and to ask yourself, are you really truly living it?